in place to try and help defend against this. ClouD dropping, counter dropping, finishing off that last Marine, but now they are in his mineral line, taking out a couple of SCVs. ClouD going to be a little slow to respond to this, but he should be able to clean this out with the Marines that he's got left. Nice stim. 3-0 upgrades, of course, certainly help defending against drops like that. So QXC still has a bunch of units hanging out down here at this bottom spawn. ClouD has a massive force of Marines and tanks starting to move now. Looks like he wants to try and do a contain on QXC, but QXC has a nice sort of domino effect tank line right here, going to be able to start blasting away. ClouD is going to lose a ton of Marines here at the beginning of this battle, but he has so many tanks here, he's easily going to be able to even up the odds. Check this out, Marines dying left and right, tanks now sieging up for ClouD, should easily be able to take out all the rest of these tanks. One more tank blown up there for ClouD. Actually, didn't take them all out. He sieged just a little too far back. But he took a QXC supply down to 152. ClouD's own supply now at 163. We do have tank weapons level 3 about to finish up. 5 tanks and 5 Marines coming out right now. 10 Marines and 3 tanks coming out for QXC. Looks like drop-oriented play still going to be king here. There are 2 Vikings overhead of these siege tanks right now. If QXC actually managed to get like a Banshee out, there is no Marine force here. There's no anti-air at all. Actually, scratch that. Bunch of Marines now showing up to the party. ClouD looks like he just wants to fortify. This is Xel'Naga Tower. QXC coming in with 8 Marines. Gonna try and force the tanks to actually splash each other. Didn't quite work out like he wanted. He ends up losing the medevac and those Marines. QXC still positioned to defend his natural here, but ClouD is now moving down into the bottom to try and mess up these command centers, and not to mention this planetary fortress. So he can actually hit the mineral line over here on the right side and hit this planetary fortress, if I'm not mistaken. He can just barely hit both of them. He is focusing down the planetary fortress, or at least trying to, but look how many SCVs are being pulled to try and repair this up, while QXC responds with some Marines that were just hanging out here at the bottom spawn. The planetary fortress being healed up quicker than ClouD can actually damage it. He might be better actually to kill off some SCVs here on the right side. Still keeping his contain up in the middle by this Xel'Naga Tower, reinforcing with more tanks, more Marines, constantly. All the time, I should say. QXC doing a smart thing here, dropping 2 tanks up on the high ground where ClouD does not have vision. He will force ClouD to use a scan if he wants to do that. He thinks the tanks are over here, perhaps, but they're actually up on this cliff and able to shell down there just because they have vision. ClouD actually did waste a scan trying to get up there. This planetary fortress still at max health. He's not sending any more units in there to try and help out. He is now trying to test the front of QXC as he has been inching closer and closer, getting more tanks and Marines ready to try and break this siege that ClouD has imposed upon him. Planetary Fortress still at max health. This tank from QXC still sieging the low ground. He's got 8 kills now. Another nice blast. 10 kills. Oh my goodness, this tank is thinning out these Marines like crazy. Planetary Fortress now getting in on the action. 11 kills of its own. 12 kills, soon to be 13. There it goes. So 5 tanks sieged up down here on the low ground. 3-0 weapons. 1-0 weapons for QXC sieging against these. Just tank versus Planetary Fortress, and now there are not enough SCVs to deal with the incoming damage, and this Planetary Fortress is finally going to go down. QXC got to be a little upset about that. He's got these on auto repair. The SCVs tried to repair themselves, but there's another command center already formed up here, turning into a planetary fortress. A single tank goes up there to try and scout and deal with that. Thor is now on the field. I just zoomed in to see the sweet Collector's Edition model that I myself use. QXC not looking good right now, honestly. He just lost a base. He's at 175 supply against 182 supply, which of course can be evened out pretty quickly, but he is getting a Banshee, which I mentioned earlier might be a good idea. ClouD sieging up a single tank, bringing 4 more to come deal with this planetary fortress. QXC unable to really do anything at the moment, just getting this single Banshee now into the fray, trying to take out some tanks. Going to focus down these low health ones first. I like this move. There's no real anti-air in here except for these Marines. They are going to stem up and try to kill off that Banshee. They do manage to kill off the Banshee, but the tanks get to nom 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 on some Marines right there as well. Units lost now, getting into 5 figures for both players. Still incredibly even for this point in the game. What do we have going on here? Weapon refit. That means a Yamato cannon, ladies and gentlemen. There is a fusion core on the field somewhere. Yes, here we go. Yamato cannon being researched for battle cruisers. He doesn't have a tech lab on that starport, but he's getting one built here on this one. So we might see some BCs coming out soon in this TVT matchup on Lost Temple. Interesting stuff. Banshee does take out another tank, baiting those Marines into the tank fire from QXC. Not a bad plan at all. This Thor and Siege tank constantly scanning over here at this planetary fortress, just taking out SCVs. This tank now has 2 kills to his name, going to continue trying to shell these SCVs down, while this Banshee now up to 3 tank kills. The Thor easily dispatches it, and we now have Vikings against Vikings. Should be 0-0 for both. Yes, both players with 0-0, but Cloud has been researching ship weapons level 1. Obviously, he wants to do that if he's getting battle cruisers out. +1 weapons on battle cruisers are very cost efficient because they fire so freaking fast. They're basically the Marines of the sky in terms of firing rate. QXC now mined out at another base. He is only working off this gold, which is going to be mined out soon, and this island expansion. Cloud, on the other hand, has the top base, the island base, which he needs to resaturate at some point. He's got 1 billion SCVs here doing nothing. His main and his natural are both pretty much mined out. Let's look at income just to see what's going on there. QXC, despite being on less bases, has a higher income and has less harvesters just because of this huge waste of SCVs right here from Cloud. And it looks like they are still just dancing around here at QXC's natural. I'm not sure if QXC will ever break this contain. Switching back to production tab, we do see a battlecruiser coming out. We saw him earlier though. What is QXC doing? How many medevacs is this? 6 medevacs full of tanks and Marines. A couple of Vikings in tow to help protect these medevacs. Cloud just trying to get a BC out, doesn't seem to have much else planned. His production tab is more or less empty. There is that first BC floating around with his little Russian guy portrait, and QXC has now arrived in the main of Cloud. Tank going down incredibly quickly. This Thor has 3-0 upgrades. He's going to be able to basically one-shot these Marines. Thor goes down. This tank also going to go down. QXC has dropped his entire payload out of these medevacs. Cloud doesn't look like he's responding really at all. I'm just watching the minimap, waiting for some movement to occur to see if I need to do some picture-in-picture, but it looks like Cloud is just going to be slow to respond to try and protect his main. This tech lab on the starport is going to go down. Starport itself not being focused down. It doesn't look like QXC really is doing much of anything. He has another drop here going on at the top, so I will keep that in the picture-in-picture while I watch his main force here take on this battlecruiser. Single battlecruiser with 1-0 weapons against a ton of 2-2 Marines. Battlecruiser loses that fight, and all the medevacs here still able to heal up this small amount of Marines. Tanks just shelling away at everything in Cloud's base. Looks like the drop at the top had some effect, at least killed off that base, if not everything else that was up there. And QXC doing a lot of damage still. All the production capability of Cloud being taken out here from this big old drop. He never even had to break the contain. He just loaded up everything he had and moved in through the back door, more or less. Cloud still has this giant contain, tons of tanks, tons of Thors just sitting there doing nothing while his base gets ravaged by siege tanks. No more Marines left here. Looks like Cloud did manage to take those out, but instead of lifting off these barracks, trying to move them around or anything like that, another BC coming out of this starport. The tech lab was destroyed, but it can continue building just like this one down here. A couple of tanks not really being microed right now, just shooting at whatever's in range. QXC did flee home with these other 5 medevacs, might be loading them up again here in the near future, but Cloud, honestly, he's just a little bit too passive. He could have probably broken this front from QXC several times over with what he's got there, but just chose not to do anything. Instead, losing a lot of production capability. He's only building 1 BC, 1 SCV, and 1 command center right now. He's mining off of essentially just this island base. Let's go back to the income tab just to check that out. And we'll see QXC's income is still ahead. He's got some gold minerals left. He does have this island base fully saturated. Cloud still does not have his island base fully saturated. It's almost as if he forgot about it. But this game has suddenly turned into a low econ game as the map begins to mine out. Neither player actually taking this base, or the bottom spawn. A little interesting to see that. Looks like infantry weapons level 3 and armor level 3 are finally coming for QXC. Look at the single Viking shelling away at this factory. A single BC just rolls up and kills it off forever. That's a fight that Viking will never win. But QXC still has a decent number of tanks. Cloud actually has less tanks right now, so QXC could come break this at his leisure, basically. Getting more Vikings out now. No, it looks like he's just cranking out Marines and tanks. Oh, he did another big drop here with a lot of Marines. Oh my goodness. So he is going to be able to take out this command center quite quickly. A single BC with a large repair force hanging out right here. A couple of tanks responding as well, but QXC is going to continue to move around with these medevacs and prevent ClouD from taking a mining base. Income tab way in QXC's favor now. Army lost. Still a lot in QXC's favor, 7 grand ahead. Actual army value, QXC is ahead in both minerals and gas. He's at 192 supply against 131, so ClouD sat on his advantage for way too long. All QXC really needed to do was load up a bunch of medevacs and hit him where he was weakest. Obviously, if all your army is sitting here at my Xel'Naga Tower, you're not going to have a lot back at your base. Single battlecruiser 1-0 upgrades taken on what is it, 3-3 upgraded Marines now with a lot of medevacs. The BC loses that fight, but with the tanks back here, QXC thinks better of it and moves away with his medevacs. Just dropping his payload right now, healing everything back up to full so he can stage another attack here soon. ClouD once again trying to reclaim this top natural and doing nothing with his tanks and Thors. Actually, you know, I can't criticize him too much since QXC actually is not really doing anything here trying to break it. I think he actually likes having this large force just sitting here. Look at all this food that's tied up doing absolutely nothing here for ClouD while QXC just roams around the map killing everything off. He's trying to take the top spawn for himself while ClouD is just a few feet away with a battlecruiser and siege tanks. What is QXC going to do? He lifts a ton of SCVs from other bases that come over here and start mining immediately. Is he going to turn this into an orbital command or a planetary fortress? Not just yet. He's got 4,000 minerals and 1,000 gas still. Now he goes into the planetary fortress. Big old drop actually occurred down here. Again, supply depots being lost. ClouD now in the red, not able to produce any more units even if he wanted to. And he doesn't have really anything here to defend except for 4 tanks. So really, I mean, what can he do at this point? He's mining off of essentially nothing. Actually, he caught up again. Did he saturate this base finally? Yes, he did. And now he's got this one saturated. QXC has his own, though, so they are almost even here on minerals and gas. These tanks just continuing to shell away at these starports and supply depots, knocking ClouD further into the red. What did he just Yamato cannon his command center? I'm not sure what happened there. But he did just use that energy for something. Now he's starting to shoot away at these Marines. QXC attacking over at the top natural expansion as well. Going to start shelling away at this orbital command. ClouD forced to pull all of his SCVs. Still has a billion supply tied up right here at QXC's Xel'Naga. Forced to lift this orbital command. ClouD has to be a bit frustrated at this point, but he does clear out that tank and marine force that was shelling his main. Not many production structures left. If you'll notice, 3 factories, a single barracks, a couple more factories coming up here. He's finally starting to move something around? Doesn't really look like it. No, just shifting around just a tiny bit. QXC moving in one more time, carpet bombing these tanks with Marines. Sometimes you'll see Baneling bombs used in that fashion, but Marines do just fine getting tanks to splash each other, and of course tanks do have minimum range when they are sieged up and they cannot attack a Marine that is right next to them. So ClouD, instead of typing GG, says, "Can't believe I'm losing to such a bad player." Hope you guys enjoyed that cast. I'll be doing more just like it every single day, so I hope you guys will please subscribe, and I'll see you soon.